we're heading there anyway.
Of course. I mean, you've got all the provisions for Barthans, so that sounds like a great idea.
Our paths are aligned.
He smiles.
Where's this castle?
I'm sorry, I've never heard of Cragmore Cave. The tribe talk about it, but to be honest, it could be anywhere.
Well, there's only one path for us to follow at the moment, and that's the path we were walking down anyway.
Lucky for me. Do you want to carry on looking through these caverns, or are you happy for us to leave?
I'm no lover of caverns. I'd rather be back in the daylight.
Yeah, my eyes aren't really suited to delving in the dark.
Are you sure we don't need to make sure there's nothing else here?
There could be something of value.
Well, if you night sight monkeys want to go in and have a mooch around, by all means.
I just mean more not leaving an enemy at our back.
I am not for one of slaughter of these folk. I think our path takes us elsewhere and has greater urgency than wandering around some caves.
I'm in agreement with this. Let's go.
Cool.
I'm mildly disgusted, but I'll keep my opinion to myself.
Okay. When you look disgusted, Sildar will kind of pat you on the shoulder and he'll say, "Rest assured, big man, if there was anything of real value here, it would be sat in Clog's stash. He's not the kind to have let trinkets of any real value to be outside his possession unless they'd inserted them in bodily orifices. And to be honest, if you want to go searching them,
it's not so much the values; it's making sure that there's nobody to follow us.
I think he had everybody, didn't there? He was the big boss man. He's not going to be allowing little goblins to hide in the dark while he's there squaring up, ready to face the intruders.
Perhaps.
I'm sure your vigilance will come in useful at some point, Grundak, but at the moment, it's. I think we've got more pressing matters.
I could certainly help take some of the provisions from here. I'm sure I've seen that logo before. You see the scroll, and he kind of points across, and you remember there was a big stack of stolen kind of chests and stuff there.
Yeah.
The crates have all got a logo of a blue shield with I think it's a griffin on it. He's like, I recognise that. I think there's a trade post in Phandelver. Maybe it was destined for there. If there's room on your wagon, and we could take these crates, might be a bit of coin in it.
We could take some, definitely. I say as I heft up the one full of the coins.
Okay, so
take as much as we can.
Take Clark's chest, and between the three heavy set dudes, you could take
the heavy lifters
chests each easily. It'll take some time to get down the chimney with them, but it won't be too difficult.
Like I said, would we need to
just wrap a rope, lower it down, change the rope, another one. It'll take you half an hour. So before long, you're heading back down the trail, laden with goods marked for Phandelver. It actually looks as though the kind of tops on these crates had been ripped open. And when they'd seen that it was all kind of nicely packed, they've kind of had a rifle through them to see what's in there, and then just sort of thrown the top back on. It's not valuable stuff. It's corn, and there's food. There's some food and grain, but there's also some basic tools and stuff. Just not the kind of thing that would be of any use to the orcs. So you head back to the main road. Your cart is off to one side with the
camouflaged
ponies munching the grass.
Got to camouflage some ponies.
Yay. They're all fine. They're all fine when you get here. Can you all roll me a perception check, please?
Oh, I'm looking at nothing. I'm obviously coming out into the light. My perception. I'm like
11.
Oh,
Okay.
19.
Oof. Lumi rolls a natural 20.
oh.
Natural 20.
Hacks.
6 I got.
Okay. Most of you are
Oblivious.
none the wiser. You're completely none the wiser. The only person that sees something is Lumi. Lumi, you just catch out of the corner of your eye movement in the distance, and it looks like it was on the trail for a moment, and then it kind of flits from the trail off into the shadows of the woodland, but it was moving fast.
Behind us or in front of us?
On the route you're about to take,
Right, okay.
100 meters up.
I've seen something on the road just ahead.
What?
Be prepared. Only a
I'll-
fleeting movement.
Dump my stuff in the actual wagon. And then take up point as usual.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Right, you guys heading off? I
I'll-
presume you're.
I'll look to the drow. You driving?
Of course.
I'll just shake my head at Grundak, terrible manners, and offer my hand to help the drow lady into the wagon. Manners, Grundak.
I,
Look,
Fine.
cute, man.
I'll laugh as
I'm
if it's a
fine.
cracking joke. Oh, you're funny.
I'll
I'll just get up onto there.
All right.
He'll kind
Coming
of
out.
he'll get up onto the top. He doesn't have a weapon, but he'll happily kind of
Could-
stick by.
I was going to say, could we have taken the mace that the bugbear used?
Yeah,
Given him that, I would have said that.
Um,
But sort of arm him.
To be honest, he'll look at that massive kind of two-handed morning star, and he'll be like, "Yeah, last resort, perhaps," and he'll carry it along with him.
You want to use this? I'll offer him a hand axe.
No, it's fine. I normally use a rapier, but
Let's get moving.
Yeah. 20 morning stuff. Yeah, this is a weapon of some finesse.
it's not normal. It's not normally the kind of weapon I wield, but I appreciate it. The gestures, well appreciated.
Let's
Perhaps
get
we should
Let's get moving. It'd be nice to arrive somewhere before dusk.
I'll mutter something about pig
Where are we
stickers and
heading
walk
for?
off.
So the kind of rutted kind of trade track that you guys are on emerges from a kind of wooded hillside, and you all start to catch your first glimpses of Phandelver proper. It's maybe 40 or 50 wooden log buildings. A lot of them you can see rest on old stone foundations. So clearly there was some sort of slightly larger settlement here previously, but you can see the crumbled stone walls of older ruins with ivy and briars on them that kind of surround some of the newer houses and shops, to kind of show this is a smaller settlement that was probably on the footprint of a much older one. And certainly the tale from Shephard suggests that it was probably around 500 years ago that this town was destroyed. If you think, what was that Western show like? Was it Tombstone? The one with that kind of Wild West series?
Yep.
Tombstone?
Yeah.
And that you've got a kind of main rutted cart track, that kind of muddy track that goes through the centre, and the street climbs gradually, and in the distance you can see a ruined manor house, a pretty big one. So it must have been quite grand in its time, but it's fallen into a total state of disrepair now, and that's kind of towards the east. So as you come into the centre, even though it's just verging on evening time, you can see the populace mooching around, running errands, heading to and fro. You'll see children and adults. Interestingly enough, most folk will eye you as you kind of walk through the town. And bar Lumi and Almar, you won't get much attention, but for them, they'll take a proper like, oh, there's a double check at those guys.
Smile, it probably makes it look more threatening.
Sildar will kind of point across to one side and he'll say, I hear there's a good inn just in the centre of town. Stonehill Inn. It's a pretty quaint little place. I think that might be worthwhile. Or we could take this stuff straight round to Barthen's Provisions. That's where
Still be.
That's where this cart's headed anyway. So I'm sure it'll still
Will
be.
Still be trading. Yeah, let's do that.
We could get it.
I
done,
agree.
Sure, before we turn in.
Yeah. Work first, play later.
It's a smile.
We should discharge our responsibilities first.
Okay, so you head up and stood outside this kind of shop with the little mark, Barthen's Provisions in common, on a little wooden sign. Had two sort of fairly bored-looking guys in their late teens, both humans, quite well built, sort of passing the time, just kind of chatting to each other, and sat on a little rickety rocking chair beside them is sort of a fairly lean guy in his 50s, bald on top, and he'll stand up, look across when he sees you guys approaching with the provisions, and smile and rub his hands together. Ah, you finally arrived, lads. Brilliant. Oh, come on over, come on across. And he turns to the two guys. He'll say, Ander, Thistle, get this stuff unloaded. Come on inside. There's some ale in here. We'll have a chat and get your payment sorted. And with that, he'll kind of sort of walk in, push the doors open. Two kind of now looking slightly, I thought we were done for the day. Lads kind of trudge across towards the wagon. Are you going to just let them kind of just start?
We've got
unloading?
extra, haven't we?
I will help.
Okay. They'll pick stuff up and walk it round to, looks like a kind of almost a shed that backs onto Barthen's Provisions.
They don't want to be unloading the stuff that was actually due for here.
Yeah.
Anything with the logo on and the big chest of fucking copper is like, put that down, mate.
Yeah. No, to be honest, they don't even go near that stuff, right? So, the one thing I will say is, Grundak, when you start to pick up the stuff, the slightly smaller of the two, Thistle, with us, it looks like no matter which way his hair is moved, it always seems to stick up. And he goes, "Excuse me, sir. Don't. If you bring the stuff in, my dad's going to give me a roasting. So why don't you go in and warm yourself by the fire and get some beer down your neck and leave this to us? It's our job after all." But cheers.
Okay.
With that, he'll pick up the box and head in.
Maybe you should stay with
inside.
the stuff.
I was going to say, is somebody going to stay with the vehicle? Or?
Grundak, maybe you should stay with the chest and guard it or something.
I'll pick it up and bring it with me.
And all the other stuff.
You can use it as his stool.
I was just say I'll grunt and just say beer, and then I'll walk off with the chest over my shoulder.
Yeah. So when you head inside, it's that kind of classic frontier stuff. So there's kind of bed rolls, supplies, ropes, rations, in a kind of big horseshoe room. It might remind you of like an old corner shop type thing, right? So all the produce is in big shelves behind a kind of countertop. And over the far side, you've seen Elmar Barthen pulled a flap down and pulled out a small keg of ale and a stack of cups. So it's good to see you all. You must be that dwarf. Yeah, Rockbiter is his name. Is that the one? Gundren. Yeah, you must be bringing the provisions here. I've got your money somewhere. Have a beer. How was the trip? Says with a smile.
Were you guys actually hired to bring this stuff to him?
Yes.
No.
More eventful than we would have liked.
care to? He'll knock the tap, pour you a beer, hand a frothy beer towards you, Shepherd, and go, care to fill me in? With a smile.
No, nothing we couldn't handle. Just a minor greenskin issue on the road.
It kind of looked like his eyes all open. Really? Greenskins on the road?
Well, I'll hike me some of the ridiculously sized barbarian and the scary looking dragon people. Like, we were alright.
Nervously smiles. It's more a flash of teeth than anything, and he'll fill up some more cups of beer and slide them across. Yeah. I mean no disrespect, knights, but you can drink this stuff, right? Can't you? And he'll kind of extend a beer slightly nervously towards Lumi, like as if you can drink this, right?
If he doesn't, I will take it off.
I can.
Typical priest.
I'll
Seem much more hot. Oh, fantastic!
No, he can't, but I'll have his too.
I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up, down it in one, and put it back down again.
Okay.
Yes.
He'll make sure you've all got a drink. Interesting enough, Joe, how does Brorna do? Do you keep the cowl up? Do you pop the cowl back? It's almost night time, so
I'll pop the cowl back.
As soon as you drop the cowl, you get a very nervous look.
Yeah, I'll say, yeah, I know you were hoping for a high elf. They always are. But I'll have a beer, regardless.
Possibly save, my lady. And with that, he'll slowly pour a beer and look confused as if, do you drink that as well? He'll kind of hand it across to you. With most attention.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good to see you, strange folk. But welcome to Barthen's Provisions. And thanks for bringing the stuff along from Neverwinter. Appreciate it. I've got some money for you. And with that, he kind of roots around. He'll bring a bag of gold pieces up onto the countertop. Which one are you in charge?
That'll be me then. I'll take the money.
You're almost as funny as he is.
Kind of. Barthen will look sort of embarrassed as he kind of. Okay. And interesting enough, so the stuff that's put on the money that's put on the bar, I think it was 10 gold a piece.
Yeah.
But obviously there's only 30 because he wasn't expecting 2 extra. Sildar will take a pouch out, and he'll drop another pouch next to it. So I think that makes you whole now. It says 50 gold on the bar top.
That isn't necessary. We weren't expecting to be paid.
He'll look across at you with incredulity and say, "It fucking was necessary. You saved my neck, and I appreciate it. So do me the honour of taking my gold and spend it on beer and good food."
I've already counted 10
Drink
off.
to your health.
If I was still a military man, I'd say, and that's an order, but I'm not. So do whatever you like with it. But
yeah, I've already counted 10 off, and it's disappeared.
We'll spend it in good health then.
So,
excellent.
Our paths are aligned. I feel we're both going the same direction.
Well, they sure are. They sure are.
To the pub?
With that, you'll definitely get a nod from Elmar. He'll kind of say, "Yeah, you should head up to the Stonehill Inn. It's just across the square and take a left. That's the nicest one around. I'd avoid the other one, the Sleeping Giant. Those red arm bandit type fools are over that way."
Red arm bandits?
Red Brand, I think they call themselves. A bunch of bloody ruffians. They've been here in Phandelver for a while now. I think it's probably fair to say that the town master is not terribly good at keeping the laws around here. Let's put it that way. Feels a bit more frontier-like, but maybe you could pop and see Harbin. Harbin Wester. He's in the town hall. It's just, well, if you can call it a town hall, the building with the town hall symbol out the front of it, set of scales. He might be able to help, but yeah, the Red Band are a bunch of ruffians, and they tend to kind of hang around the Sleeping Giant pub. But if I take some good advice, stay well clear, and you'll be fine, Round.
How many of them are there?
Enough, he says with a kind of resigned look. Enough that we have to pay, and just suck it up. So,
Pay?
So you have to pay.
Yeah.
They're
well,
extorting you.
Now you see, they don't describe it like that. They
No, they're
describe,
extorting you. Trust me, I've seen many such rackets on the streets of Neverwinter. Trust me.
There's a slight blush to his cheeks as he says, I know what you mean, lad, but they don't call it extortion.
No, they call it protection. They call it's protection money, and they're going to keep you safe from any damage and loss to your business. And if you don't pay, they damage and cause loss to your business. It's the oldest criminal trick in the book.
Yeah, well, we don't have folk round here that can stop them. So we just.
Hence my question of how many are there?
Just kind of, he'll wince and he'll say 30.
It's a lot.
20, 30. It's enough. It's enough to be a pain up everyone's arse. So
Are they all in town now?
I've lived my life among these people, though. Trust me.
no, I tried to avoid them, to be quite honest. So I would advise, if you can take it from an old man, the best thing to do, head over to Stonehill, have a word with the boss there, and I'm sure you'll be fine. You won't even have to go over the other side of town. You have a chat to Toblin, Stonehill Inn, his place. He's a good man, and he'll stop as many of the ruffians. They don't tend to go and drink in there, but stay well clear of them, and you'll be fine. You've done a good thing here. Don't spoil it by getting yourselves stuck in your sleep or something silly like that.
Fair enough.
With that, Thistle will pop his head round. Done, Dad. All sorted. Everything's there. And he'll nod.
And
Good
extra.
boy. No. What do you mean extra?
Oh, did we not give the extra supplies to them then?
No, it's not his supplies.
Are
They bear a different mark.
Okay.
they loot for us to sell, or are they destined for somewhere else?
We were going to drop them off somewhere else, I believe.
There was a place with the
Crest.
the crest on it.
Yeah, so Sildar will kind of pipe up. He's been a bit quiet as he's supping his beer, and he'll say, correct me if I'm wrong, Lion Shield Costa, isn't that the trade post here in town that bears the other mark? Elmar will kind of walk across and have a little look out. He'll nod and he'll say, yeah, you can head just across. If you just head north, Linen, she'll still be there. To be honest, she'll be there until it's well beyond dark. So go and ask for her. I tell you what, she'll be good friends with you if you've brought her provisions. I think she thought they were lost on the road.
They were. We found them.
Good.
Let's do this now.
You might have to earn yourselves even more coin, says Alma with a smile. And remember, if you need anything, come back see me. I'll help you out.
We'll make sure we do.
Bedroll or something like that. He sort of says with a nod. Just to give you a quick update, they've headed into the trade post and they're having a conversation with Linen Greywind, a human mid-30s, who's offered to give you guys some money for the provisions that you've found of hers.
10 gold apiece.
She's just lent in to have a little quiet conspiratorial chat with you about the red brands.
Oh, cool.
And the fact that them ruffians are getting worse. And she's just told the story of Theldendra, a local woodcarver who was killed in the middle of the town by the red brands, and his wife and son are missing.
So
she kind of says, "Look, I can definitely scrounge some money. It won't be a lot, but I'll see if I can get 100 together. But we need the help. So even if you can't, if you can send word to somebody that can, we'd appreciate it.
We'll talk about this further amongst ourselves.
Good, but I'd steer clear of. Do you know anything about the town? I mean, have you been here before?
No.
We were told to steer clear of the sleeping giant.
Good, great. Avoid that place like the plague. That's where they almost exclusively hang around, but you'll see them in the streets, right? So just be aware there's enough of them to be a big problem. So
Do they have a leader, or what's the setup?
the guys asked that a second ago.
All right, sorry.
And she says there's talk of a leader, but no one's been out. Anyone that's asked has been given a thorough kicking. So she's like, it's a bit difficult to ask actually, and no one dares go over to Sleeping Giant to really check it out.
Why did they just suddenly appear from?
It's
They just
been
wandered into town one day and that was it.
they've been here for a while. To be honest, almost all of them have been here for ages. It was the red brands, the red kind of bands on their arm. That's a recent thing. I mean, they used to call them the ruffians, and then there was a few of them, and they used to hang out at that pub. Then there was a lot more of them, and there's probably 20. And then there was some mention of them, so they started calling themselves the Red Brands, and then they become the Red Brand Ruffians, and now they all wear these little red armband things. But that's only a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that suggests to me that there is a specific leader amongst the group who's organised them. Who's got you don't get a band of criminals who just decide to do that.
Well,
That's usually a charismatic leader who they fall in line with.
Yeah, I mean,
Street gangs and ruffian gangs don't just start taking up affectations like that. That's driven by the ego of somebody.
I mean, that makes perfect sense. All I can say is just be careful, and don't assume that the lady that runs the Sleeping Giant tap house will be any help. It's a miserable bitch. And she's on their side anyway, so...
I've got one question.
Ask away.
And it's unrelated. But when you first cast your eyes over us, you noticed this, and I'll tap the lapel pin. And I sense there was some form of recognition there.
My eyes will squiggle around.
Mine too. Should get a real gaze now.
Shakes her head. Don't know what you're talking about, son. She seems quite a competent liar.
Now, you're asking for a help.
I am.
And as generous as the offer of gold is, trust me, and I'll look pointedly towards the two Dragonborn.
Yeah.
There are those amongst this group who would rather prize knowledge of this symbol than mere gold.
He speaks the truth.
Shepherd just went up a notch.
She nods, and then she goes, "It's not something I can talk about in an open place like this."
Then we will discuss this in a more private manner. But trust me, you're asking us to help you with a band of 30 hardened criminals who've been galvanized, more than likely, by a leader who either leads by charisma or by right of might. And he's galvanized them into something relating to an organized criminal enterprise.
She nods. I hear what you're saying, son. If you can sort the problem out or get word to someone that can, then we'll talk. Earn my trust, and I promise you I'll earn yours back. All right?
So we remove the red run problem, and I have your word that you will tell us all you know of this symbol.
Aye. She nods. I warn you now, it's not a lot. But I've seen it before. That's all I'm prepared to say. Now look, if you're looking for somewhere to stay, I can think of a couple of places. You could either go over to Stonehill's place, the big inn, or you could go across to Darren's orchard, and his hayloft might be free. If you're looking to save your coin, your call.
And we have a great deal to do by the sounds of things. I too would prefer a good night's sleep.
This is not a task to simply blunder in wielding weapons in two hands.
Planning.
What's wrong with a hayloft? It's comfy.
It's not comfortable.
Doesn't provide home cooked meals though, does it? Or cold ale on tap.
Fair enough.
Hot food, warm bread, cold ale. I mean, really, you can sleep in the hay if you want, but I know where I'm going with a chest bin full of clouds.
You had me at beer.
They do good pies as well.
Well,
with a smile.
Pies.
Pies. Now,
some rest.
what day is not made better by pies?
Every 10 days is better with a pie. It's just across the way. I shall point from here and show you it.
Let's get rooms then. We can
One
discuss this.
last question before you go. Who else in this town should the proverbial shit hit the wall? Who can bear arms against the Red Brand?
Not many. Sister Garel, she's an elven cleric of Timora, the goddess of luck. She looks after the Shrine of Luck here in town. She's
luck is something we could do with.
You can head across, and sure enough, in the centre of town, there's a large, actually newly built. Right, so this place looks, like it was built within the last year or so. A big inn, but not massive. Maybe half a dozen, 10 rooms tops, with a big common room. There are 2 roaring fires and a big bar, and the doors are wide open. You can see folk in there already. Heading up and heading in.
Yep. I liked her.
She seemed like a businesswoman, but there's definitely a strong sense of integrity about her.
So, are we going to cause the pianist to stop playing when we walk through the door?
Absolutely, certainly.
Or that kind of
mix.
that kind of reaction, anyway.
That does depend slightly upon the order in which you enter the place, but
I'm going in first.
So, Luke,
I'm not letting the scary big dragon and half-orc things go in first, or the drow. Jesus Christ.
Half-orc things.
I'm cowed.
I don't say that out loud.
So
Just me. If we're going into an inn, what is the bread and butter of the bard but an inn full of drinking fucking patrons?
Are you gonna reverse your cloak?
Oh, damn yeah. You've got to make an impression. If I was an Earthdawn troubadour now, I'd be hitting full-on first impression, have it, winning smile, bring it. I want them to make us feel welcome, because these lot are going to make people go, ooh.
I've got a friendly face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. In your hand.
I'm not saying any of this out loud. I'm just whipping in front of all you giant weirdos and crazy cowled freaks and
Shepherd,
taking the attention away from you.
will you please make me a performance check as the rest of you go in? So, Shepherd heads in just ahead of you, and like I say, as you step in, it's a set of probably 4 long trestle tables with smaller tables at the sides, 2 large inglenook fireplaces.
Fuck.
Was it good? Oh,
Great.
I hate D20. I really do.
You know what?
He
You know what
stumbles.
though? You know what though? I'm going to give you a dot of inspiration, because that's kind of the perfect thing that Shepherd would do. So you may trade it for a re-roll if you would like to, or you can keep it and potentially trade it later when somebody else or yourself needs a re-roll of a d20.
Hell no! I rolled a 3. Even with a +6 on my performance, that's just a 9. I am fucking rolling. I have got a better chance of rolling higher. Watch it come up a natural 1 now. I'm still playing Hunter. I'm still writing greater than 8 at the end of it.
I did that before.
That's better.
Yeah.
17.
Okay, so as you walk up and head in, please narrate your entrance. But there's probably a dozen people in here, farmers, townspeople, sipping beer, eating food. Behind the bar is a sort of fairly short and dumpy human with a big beard, knotted, and a stained apron, who must be the proprietor. There's a couple of fairly pleasant-looking young ladies that might be his daughters, and like I say, 2 big fireplaces. So it's a welcoming area to come. Please narrate your entrance as you dazzle and bemuse them. With a 17, that'll make them very impressed, whatever it is.
Sweet. Well, the door won't be gently opened. It will be swung open, so it kind of like slams against the wall as it opens. And I'll sweep in my great many-coloured coat, making a big swirl.
There's a few folk will turn around to look straight away. Put the whole
friends.
Spear poised.
I'll just wander in. It'll be like, friends, I bring you tales from the road. Pour the ale. Serve the food. Come closer to the fire, and I'll head towards the fireplace so these can kind of just walk in without really being seen. And I'll just walk over to the fireplace.
Toblin,
pull up a stool.
Oh, fantastic! Toblin, the proprietor, kind of watches you guys come in, and he'll turn to one of his daughters and say, "Rena, fetch the best brown ale." And she'll walk away and come back with a big kind of thing, put it onto the bar, and he'll go, "Fine brown ale for everyone, fine brown ale." There's a kind of "Hooray!" from everyone as people start to move towards the fireplace to listen to stories of the road.
Yeah. So I will pull out my little drum to provide a beat to it, and basically draw them all in and let these kind of settle in without really drawing too much attention. And I'll spend probably the next sort of half an hour to 3/4 an hour. I will actually tell the tale of our travels upon the road. I'll leave out certain specific details, but I'm going to paint all of these in a marvelous light. So I was great heroes saving the life of our new companion.
I was just going to say, actually, I think both Brorna and Amarakis have spells that can enhance your story.
I've just dropped mine in the chat.
So I think Amarakis has thaumaturgy, and I think you have prestidigitation, don't you? Which is the little kind of
in the chat
illusion-y type, or is it minor illusion that you can do? Or oh no, you went message, didn't you? Sorry.
I went with message. Yeah.
You're useless.
I'll just use mine sparingly, Phil, for dramatic effect, and just dimming the lights.
Only a little cantrip. Only a little cantrip, but it definitely enhances the story.
Tense moments like I make the fires and lights burn low for a minute.
Sure. There's a to be honest, all of them will stand there, wrapped and entertained by it. Amusingly, the kind of innkeeper Toblin seems swept away by the story. Maybe he had designs on being an adventurer at one time, and then it just kind of ignites that fire in him. He'll turn and mutter something to one of his daughters, who goes out. When she comes back in, the room is filled with the beautiful aroma of this huge pie that must be 2 foot across. And they bring it across, and she places this massive platter down on the table, heads away, and her sister will bring a tankard of gravy, like this great big tankard, and some hot earthenware plates, and she'll slice up she'll kind of divvy it into 6 and put a great big slab. She'll divvy up a slice. She'll go, "Fuck you." One. But she'll give you a wink, and she'll put you an extra spud on one side. Slide it across. So you all get this kind of massive slice of pie. Like I say, Toblin's got this great big kind of his best brown ale, and he's pouring big mugs of this and putting it down next to you guys. And that by the time the half an hour of the story's finished, he'll stand up and lead them all in a big clap, and everyone gives you a big cheer. Well done, great story.
I'll give them a flourishing bow.
That was marvellous. Marvellous. Enjoy the food. It's on the house. Please, rest yourself by the fire. Rest yourself. Here, more brown ale. Bring the brown ale. Rena will come across with the ale, pour some more ale out for you guys. Oh, what a fantastic tale. I've rooms enough for almost all of you, he says with a smile.
My brother and I can share.
He kind of looks. I think you're big folk, hardy, thick set. He kind of exaggerates because he's thick set. I think our beds will just about be sturdy enough. But yes, I'll organise it myself. Rest by the fire. Take your boots off. I'll sort your rooms out for a mere pittance. For a mere pittance. And he'll kind of toddle off, ordering people around. There's a definite kind of warmth from the folk there as they kind of sit there nodding, kind of raising a pipe, raising a cup to Shepherd. Good story, young man, good story. Fine tale. But yeah, you'll get a very warm welcome from the inn.
I look at Shepherd kind of speculatively and say, You have the voice of a warrior poet. That is surprising.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. I'll say completely deadpan.
I'll say to Lumi in Draconic.
It was.
Brother, perhaps we should let the small human go first more often.
Yeah, I'll laugh. I agree.